Hey everybody, it's Prince of Queens, and real quick note, I'm going to be streaming very late at night when Spacepan gets back from a lunch in Hong Kong, and we're going to be testing out my OBS so that I can start streaming. I have some really great streams coming up from people that I met at the ICMI, so tune in for those and be excited if you actually watch my channel. I'm very sorry about not having made videos recently, but some stuff was going on. Okay, so I recently rediscovered the worst SJW feminist, queer, wacky, gender deconstructionist, man-hating, gay male-hating, everything that really bothers me about the SJW movement is all wrapped up into one. Like, all my pet peeves are kind of in this. So, yeah, I'm just gonna read this. It's from 2015, and this is the article, the specific article, honestly, that I think it really pushed me over the edge in realizing that I just hate these people. I moved up from San Francisco and I was hanging out with the queer scene, and I was a somebody there. You know, I was a music producer, DJ'd sometimes, and was a singer and did theater stuff. And so all these people knew who I was, and they were mostly pretty nice to me, even though they were getting ruder and ruder just because I was a white male. Oh, sorry, there's a thunderstorm going on. I can't really do anything about that. But when I moved up to Seattle, the people didn't know me because I never really came to visit because Seattle's awful. And I decided I would just hang out with the same crowd-ish, thinking that it would be sort of similar, but it's not. It's actually worse in Seattle. And the reason why is because San Francisco is a gay male mecca. And, you know, a lot of people are white, and Seattle is actually more white, but it just makes them overcompensate harder, so their anti-white racism comes out more, because that's just sort of what happens. I would say that the best way to describe it is that the San Francisco Bay Area, like Berkeley, Oakland, San Francisco, those are where these ideas all come from, but once they hit the Northwest, like Seattle and Portland tries to take it a step further to prove themselves, because I think they have kind of an inferiority complex, so they want to make everything better. And also the Northwest is way more feminist, because I guess there's a lot of rich people in San Francisco, and there's a lot of gay men in particular, and gay men aren't really feminists. Even if they think that they are, they don't really know anything about it because they don't have to. But Seattle is probably, in a square mile radius, there's probably more feminists in the Seattle area than anywhere else, at least per person. Portland, yeah, there's maybe more, but the thing about Portland is it's a much smaller city, really. So, Queer Space Magazine, Queer Etiquette for Gay Men, Navigating Queer Spaces, posted by Zachariah Ibrahimi, July 15th, 2015. So this is basically around the time when I was like, I had it. These people are horrible. I'm never going to hang out with them, ever. And like, look at this. I mean, you can kind of tell, right? Like, imagine taking this photo being like, this is going to be our advertisement. It's like a race to the bottom. It's like a clear intersectional feminist. Like, we don't like people who don't look ridiculous. So here's these people instead, because the weirder looking and less stylish you are, and, you know, that's good. That is what we want. So, have you been to a queer event in Seattle? We have so many amazing nights right now. By the way, a lot of these nights aren't in existence anymore. Two of them, Shade and Night Crush, they were thrown by this specific non-binary, man-hating, lesbian-ish, female-bodied person who I don't believe went on hormones or anything. And she caused quite a disturbance because she hated men and her crowd hated men, and they threw shade at this gay bar, which is very, very gay male centric in terms of its long-term audience. And they eventually got kicked out after, like, I don't know, a year or 6 months, because the clientele that would come to the shade party, which was once a month, was incredibly rude to the regulars at the bar. And they were really nice about it. They're just like, yeah, I don't think it's really working out, blah, 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 blah. And she became irate and began spreading rumors that the place was misogynistic and stuff. And it's like, no, you're misandric. But she was the type of person that thought that misandry isn't real or whatever. So, or they were the type of person, yeah, it's kind of hard to call someone they when they explicitly hate men so much, but I'll make an effort because it's YouTube. So Night Crush was also thrown by that person, and I think it no longer exists. I can't find any sign of it. I think that it just wasn't pulling in a crowd. I think that everybody realized that the promoter and the crowd were haters. And then Girl, Bi, Glamour Puss, and Trans Fabulous, I don't know what those parties are, so I can't speak to them. Just to name a few. There is so much diversity in color and texture within our community. Okay, I don't know what texture means, but I'm going to assume it means different body types like large, small, hairy, smooth, pox-marked. We want to share this beauty with you, make memories, and open minds. Oh yeah, I'm sure you want open minds, and you don't just want everybody to think exactly like you do. Have you ever thought about the appropriate etiquette for navigating queer spaces? Well, considering this article is supposed to be addressed to gay men, wouldn't that be an implication? But here's the thing. The people in Seattle are so feminist and so extreme that they do not consider gay men, and in particular white gay men, to be queer. They think that queer means, non-binaries, trans-trenders, AFAB, mask of center, like all the weird crap. That's what they think queer means. And so you have to pay attention to the dog whistles, all right? The queer sect of our LGBTQ community has recently gained large-scale visibility. Well, this was 2015, which means that there was a lot of propaganda that was coming out. The Q-tips, the QT POC, and Cat Black, and I guess Milo Stewart and Riley Dennis was all kind of popular, and they had some really cringy things coming out in 2015. 2015 was when the left, and in particular the intersectional feminists, were just so ridiculously overconfident. That was, I think, when they came up with Shout Your Abortion in Seattle. Shout Your Abortion came from Seattle. So that's the type of people that you're dealing with. And the Shout Your Abortion were heterosexual women, but, they were powerful. They had jobs at Jezebel and stuff. But they just thought that they were going to take over the world, no problem. They didn't think that there was going to be any resistance. It was going to be, take no prisoners. We're in charge now. We're the weak that is inheriting the earth because the weak deserves it, because we're weak. Just give us things. We're pathetic. We can't do anything very well. And that means we're not privileged, so we deserve everything. So I'm going to move on. That means some insensitive and uncomfortable situations are occurring. Here a few topics to help us all coexist and have a good time. Oh, you mean, I'm going to guess that this is for you to have a good time around gay men. So, what do gay men have to do? This might go on for a while. Gender. Believe it or not, we aren't all male or female. Now, was this a new concept in 2015 for gay men? I don't really remember, but I'm sure some gay men hadn't actually really gotten the memo that, we don't live in a binary world anymore, and that they're actually an oppressor class because they're cisgender and, are attracted to masculine men and stuff. So There are many genders within our community, and they all deserve your recognition and your respect. A common way to identify gender is with pronouns. Hopefully you've heard he, she, and him, her before. Okay, you're already writing this in a really condescending, passive-aggressive tone. These are male-female pronouns. What are you talking to, like a kindergarten class? Ugh. Not everybody identifies as male or female, though. Some people prefer to use they, them, their pronouns, me included. Zachariah, you don't get offended when people call you a male. I've seen you. I know what you look like. You get happy because you get to claim to be offended and then you have power over them. That's why I never talked to you. Like, I went out and I saw you and I was like, that person I'm steering clear of. That person looks ridiculous. Moving on. This doesn't always have anything to do with a person's physical body. Yeah, no crap. Yeah. Not in your case. I choose to use they, them, their as my pronouns because those pronouns better represent the fluidity of my gender. Someone else may use they, them, their for completely different reasons. And you guessed it, we don't get to ask. Don't worry though, the reason somebody chooses their gender pronouns doesn't matter. All that matters is that you respect them as human beings. Well, I do respect them as human beings. After all, it doesn't affect you. Actually, it does. Actually, you people pick fights with people all the time because you look like a dude or look like a female, and people call you, hey, that girl over there, or hey, that dude over there, and then they freak out. So it does affect people, and you know that. That's probably why you made the choice, was to affect other people. If you ever feel the need to ask a person's pronouns, maybe to find the correct language to communicate, try going with, may I ask your pronouns? However, if you're drunk, inappropriate, obnoxious about it, be prepared to be ignored or yelled at. Okay, why would anybody ever hang out with you after you just said that? First of all, you don't even get to say, what are your pronouns? You don't get to say that. You have to say, may I ask your pronouns? Now, it's a slight technicality, and I think I've actually done that before when I was still trying to hang out with these people. But if you're drunk, inappropriate, obnoxious about it, be prepared to be ignored or yelled at, and that's your guys' right, because they ask a pretty fair question that I thought that they wanted to be asked. Anyhow, politely asking someone which pronouns you should use is okay, but here are some important questions not to ask. What's your gender? It doesn't matter. We only ask pronouns as a way to address and interact. What genitals do you have? Seriously, just don't. Are you on hormones? Okay, I will admit that, asking what genitals do you have to somebody that looks obviously trans, you probably shouldn't do if you don't actually know them. Just in terms of polite social standards, And also, are you on hormones? But their response to that, are you on hormones, is, I don't know, are you on depression medication? Such a personal question. Rude. Well, I don't know. Sometimes there's these people who, the only thing they changed about themselves is their name, and they expect to be called completely trans or whatever. So it's not really that bizarre. Will you have surgery? Also totally rude. I can agree with that. There's people that are trans and they want to have surgery, but they can't afford it and stuff. So it's just maybe just hang out with them. So why don't we try enjoying the company of others without putting expectations on their physical body? This is nightlife. Keep it light. Okay, you are obviously not following your own rules there. But I will sort of say that's true. You should try to be nice, but you're not a nice person. You're an awful person. If somebody brings one of these topics up and then personally addresses you and asks your opinion, go for it. So, gay cis males can only speak when spoken to. Gotcha. Otherwise, mind your own business and have fun. Unless you show up to one of these things and they're like, can I dance with you? And then they get really aggressive and bump and grind on you and then just walk away entirely, bizarrely. You know, these people aren't like that themselves. They think that they get to treat gay men however they want, and we just have to put up with it because they are the queer aristocracy. That's what these people at least were like. I don't know, maybe they just don't have nightlife anymore because they were so obnoxious and everybody stopped going to their parties, and then the clubs said, no, you can't have this happen here. So, passing. To pass or to be passable means you are successfully emulating one or another gender. Never give anyone suggestions on how they can pass better. It makes you look like a naive, entitled jerk. Not cool. Yeah, I would sort of say that's true. Passability is not always an ideal or even a goal. Well, obviously, we've seen the pictures of the people that you're talking about, so we know that. We are who we are. All of us. You included. Yeah, but you hate gay men. And we are not accepted at your nights. And this article will get into that. There is no box for us as humans to be put in. The in-between of emulating gender, as you may view it, is beautiful. Hopefully one day people will let go of society's opinions on gender and beauty influence. Then they could see beauty openly and honestly without needing to ask questions. Okay, this is you being a creep. You are not asking people to be open-minded. You are asking people to see the world in a way that they don't. People can't control what they see as beautiful, and people generally agree upon what is a beautiful woman, what is a beautiful man. Maybe there's some people that are in between that people consider beautiful or interesting looking. You know, somebody that looks fairly androgynous, and that's fine. Whatever. But you are trying to upend the human condition of finding certain types of people attractive. That's not making them open-minded. That's making them closed-minded by imposing this weird arbitrary ideology onto people that you don't even know, that you probably don't even believe yourself. Like, I don't believe that these people actually think that these people at the top are actually beautiful. I think that it's more like they look kind of like them and they want to be considered beautiful, so they all play make-believe. That's my guess. Outing. You know what outing is if you've outed yourselves or have been outed before. It can be absolutely terrifying. Nah, not really. No, I don't care. I'm pretty open about being gay. It's scary to put your true self on the line, and kudos to you if it was your personal choice. It generally is. You hear how I sound. I sound pretty gay. Sometimes we are outed by others, though, against our will, and that can be uncomfortable and dangerous. It has ended in violence, verbal abuse, and death. I think that's when a trans prostitute hooks up with a guy and doesn't tell them that they're trans. Is usually what the death thing is, but I'm not going to rule out the possibility. People who've come out, such as gay men, should already have respect for this ritualistic part of their lives. In queer spaces, you can meet many trans and gender nonconforming people. Trans with an asterisk. I'm not going to come back to that later, though. These spaces are sacred and safe. Ooh, like a cult, where we can let our hair down and feel our own fantasies surrounded by family. No, you guys hate each other. I've been. You guys, until you get drunk, you just give each other evil eye. I guess probably rehashing Facebook arguments in your head. Much like being at a gay bar. Safety in numbers, right? No, these are the least safe spaces. I actually made a video about how the safe spaces aren't safe for these reasons in the video. You can watch it. Okay. Don't you hate being introduced as so-and-so's gay friend, gay BFF, and all that? No, I don't, actually. I don't have a problem with my friends who do that. And you want to know why? Because usually they do that when we're in a situation where I'm with a female and we're going over to a straight party or a straight guy's house or a straight woman's house, and they want to clarify that I'm not her new boyfriend. The one friend that I used to hang out with who did that a lot, she had a new boyfriend like every month. And so, it was worth explaining to these people. And I just don't care. They say it's tokenizing and implies you are only worth your sexual identity. No, it doesn't. That implies, okay, if you think that, that implies you're really, really insecure. It's worthwhile information so that people realize that you're gay and that, you're not there to hit on someone's girlfriend or something, or that you're not with the friend that you came with. It's a perfectly reasonable thing to state. It doesn't offend me. You're uptight. When you call someone your trans friend, not only are you being an ass, but you are putting someone in potential danger. Okay, I think you're being a little bit hyperbolic, but I will say that it's kind of, you don't need to tell someone, this is my trans friend, usually we can tell. It's a lot easier to be gay than trans. I don't think that you get to compare these things. I mean, maybe you do, Zachariah, because of the fact that you are somebody that is very questionably trans. Like, you get to say that you have some trans experience, but I've seen you. You have very hairy legs. You have a beard. I believe I've seen you in like a leotard, and you have male parts in the groin, and there's no real effort. I think maybe what you want to say, though, is that it's a lot easier to be a normal-looking gay dude than to be a ridiculous-looking male-bodied person that puts on female clothing without doing drag that doesn't really fit them very well. And whether you're trans or not, I'm not going to get into. So it's a lot easier to be gay than trans, and that is a fact. Shut up. Queer, trans, POC friends are not your personal tchotchkes. Well, maybe they're not my friends. I don't even know what personal tchotchkes means exactly, but do not make us feel collected. We are human beings like you. Okay, you're not my friends. I don't like you. I don't like anybody like you. So don't worry about it. And this is the worst part. This is the part that really, really sucks. Consent. This is a very big deal. It's huge. We should all know what it means. Ask first. When you are at a queer party or in a queer space, there are a different set of rules. Very different. Ask consent. Ask if you can speak with someone. You have to speak with them to do that. And no, I'm not gonna, no. This is why I will never hang out with. And I also wonder, do you do this? Do you hold people like you to the same standard? Like, if I showed up with a leotard, could I just talk to anyone? I'm just curious. Ask if you can speak with someone. Ask if you can give someone a compliment. No. Ask before you touch someone. Okay, well, that's pretty reasonable. I mean, I would generally only touch someone's shoulder anyhow. Ask before you buy someone a drink. Wait, that's dumb though. Because you can buy someone a drink, or you can buy an extra drink and say, hey, do you want this drink? And if they say no, then you give it to someone else or something. Like, that's, I mean, I don't know. I'd usually ask, because what if they don't want it? You just wasted your money. But anyway, and here's another part where it gets really bad. If you're a man who is male identified, your presence has a tendency to occasionally make people tense. Many of us who are queer identified have been physically, mentally, and emotionally hurt by cisgender men over and over. Oh, please, you're hurt by a shadow, obviously. And, I mean, it's entirely okay to be bigoted towards cisgender men to these people, and it is. You can tell if you come around, they like give you dirty looks and everything, but I don't even believe it's because they feel that you've done something wrong or that you will do something wrong. I think it's just their ideology of man hate. Be aware of what your presence means. You're coming into something so real, so beautiful, and so special to us. We want you to appreciate and learn, and we need you to respect us. Okay, what you're telling me is don't come. That's what you're telling me. That's what you're telling gay men. And that's probably why a lot of your nights don't exist anymore. You're insufferable. Speaking of beauty standards, one thing that makes queer culture different from mainstream gay culture is wide acceptance of all body types. Don't ever let me catch you shaming anyone for their size, large or small, color, clothes, characteristics, etc. I mean it. No good. Okay, don't ever try to catch me doing anything, Zachariah. You do not want me in your face. I'm not saying I'm going to fight you or anything. No. I will read you so hard to filth, I will make you walk away crying. I mean, I live stream very regularly, being quick-witted on the spot. I mean, I also am a gamer, too. I sit there and people try to tell me to not play Sombra in Overwatch, even though I'm actually really good at her and they have a Doomfist or something. Okay, that's just video game babble to anyone. And I get to, practice my witty comebacks and everything. And I am so not scared of being lectured by this person. This is not a smart person. And then he says, well, I think that rinses over everything a bit. There's so much to learn about ourselves and each other. Thanks for learning a few things, and I hope it starts a discussion for you. Well, you got that. You sure did, Zachariah. And I think I'm going to leave it at that because, ugh. Okay, tune in later tonight for a little stream with Space Panda and I. See ya. We're going to talk about the ICMI. Bye.